Hi, my name's Dr. Ellen Storm from U-Turn Health, and today I want to talk to you a little bit about a study that dropped into my inbox thanks of something called the True Health Initiative. So I want to thank them because they sent this round on their newsletter, which I subscribe to. And it's a study that was carried out by Landry et al. In 2023, which reported on a randomised controlled trial of 22 identical twin pairs that were randomised to either eating a vegan or an omnivorous diet for 8 weeks. They spent 4 weeks eating a diet that was being provided to them, and then they spent 4 weeks having done that, preparing their own meals according to certain basic dietary principles. This is the sort of study that I could probably write a chapter or a very long essay about, and I might even do that at some point. But this, for just for now, just for this moment in time, there's two things I wanted to just think about a little bit in relation to what immediately struck me about this study. So, and I will put the full reference down below in the blurb if you're interested to follow it up and read a little bit more about it. The first thing that really struck me was that in the abstract, right at the beginning, it says that participants were randomised to either a healthy vegan or a healthy omnivorous diet. Now that's quite fascinating because the organisers of this study have chosen to define the diet that they have fed their participants as healthy at the beginning, at the outset. There are a few problems with that because, first of all, healthy is not something that's clearly defined. In certain circles, there may be some degree of consensus, but overall, I would say there's very little consensus actually about what constitutes healthy. So what they think is healthy is not what I think is healthy, and what they fed their participants is not what I would have fed participants if I was providing them with what I believe to be the healthiest diet. So what they fed them were cooked meals, emphasising fruits and vegetables, which is good, and whole grains, which is not best, but not terrible either, and healthy fats, which is a subject for an entire other day. So those are the sorts of things that they emphasised in both of the diets, whether animal products were included or not. Now, there's the issue of whether that's healthy or not. There's also a scientific issue here, which is about whether you say that something is something before you do the study. So the point being that they've already defined healthy. And actually the study is there to find out whether these diets are healthy or not. If you're going to do that, you have to start from a place called a null hypothesis. You have to start from the point of view that there is possibly no difference between these two diets, whether you believe that or not. That's a kind of scientific position where we say, actually, the purpose of this study is to find out how healthy or unhealthy these diets are in particular ways, perhaps in relation to particular outcome measures. And these investigators wanted to find out about LDL cholesterol, they wanted to find out about fasting insulin, and they wanted to find out about weight loss. Those were kind of three of the main things that they looked at. So that's not all the parameters of healthiness that one might look at if one wanted to find out whether or not a diet is healthy. So first of all, you don't define whether your diet is healthy or not at the beginning. That's a bad thing to do. It's the wrong thing to do. You say, I'm going to do this diet and I'm going to do this diet. And you might say, well, we believe that these are reasonably, based on what we know already, this is what we understand to be reasonably healthy. But you don't say it is so. Yeah, you say, we're making a hypothesis. We think that these are reasonably healthy diets. We want to compare them. So that's a little bit of a problem in the beginning because you're already prejudging and you're already thinking what you're already kind of have an idea of what you're going to find. And if that happens, then what you do is you start to introduce something called bias into your study. So we have to start with the point of view that we don't know. We don't know what these diets are going to do to these parameters. But in any case, we can't say these are healthy or unhealthy at the end of it. We can only say they did this or that to these parameters. That's what we studied. So we need to avoid kind of sweeping generalizations in our conclusions. And to do that, you have to begin by having good kind of scientific process, if you like. So that worried me a little bit about this study, because the inclusion of the word healthy quite frequently right at the beginning sort of made me have a few alarm bells ringing, thinking, I'm not quite sure, that these guys know what they're doing. But, there we are. So that's what they did. And then they've given these meals, so 4 weeks of pre-prepared meals, then 4 weeks of preparing your own meals. And what they've said, so the second thing that kind of struck me about this was that all of the participants lost weight, but the vegans lost more weight than the omnivorous diet group participants. So if we're going to talk about what a healthy diet is, well, we're all, in our society quite anxious about weight and about weight loss. And we think that healthy diets are weight loss diets because we're all overweight, we're all carrying too much fat, because we're all eating unhealthy diets in the first place. So we have, as part of our sort of kind of inherent definition, the idea that a healthy diet is a diet that helps you to lose weight. Well, that's not true. So that's the first thing. A healthy diet does not help you lose weight. A healthy diet is calorically adequate and it helps you sustain a healthy weight. So you should be not losing weight on a healthy diet. If that diet is providing you with all the nutrients and calories that you need in order to live healthily, which means vibrantly and actively, you should be eating a lot of calories and doing a lot of exercise. And yes, sometimes we need to lose weight. And this study has been on Netflix as well. So there's a little trailer and you can watch the trailer. So some of these participants needed to lose weight. And probably in their minds, they thought, I'm participating in a diet study. So they will have done all sorts of things that maybe didn't quite get recorded or they weren't asked to do in an effort to try and lose weight, because that was one of the things that they kind of knew they were being studied for, if you like. So that kind of could have come into it as well. But for myself personally, I've been vegan for 14 years. I have both gained and lost weight on a vegan diet. I have gained weight easily and I've lost it. When I've lost it, it's been hard. It's been hard work to lose. Absolutely, a vegan diet is completely calorically adequate. So there is no reason why somebody eating a healthy vegan diet should lose weight. In fact, a positive outcome for this study would be weight maintenance. And then you look at the effects on things like cholesterol and fasting glucose. Because if you lose weight, well, anybody who loses weight on any diet is probably going to have beneficial effects on their LDL cholesterol and their fasting glucose, no matter what you're eating, because actually you're just eating less. You're just not eating enough. And if you're losing weight, you're burning fat, you're converting fat to ketone bodies, so you're going into some degree of ketosis. That's going to have an impact on your lipid levels, but it's not going to tell us whether in the long term eating this diet in a stable way is going to be good for us. So it's a short-term weight loss diet. It must have been calorically inadequate for all of the participants, or whether they were being provided with enough calories, but they weren't eating them because for some reason in their heads they thought they were involved in a weight loss diet, or whether they were actually being provided with inadequate numbers of calories in the first place. Well, I don't know the answer to that. I might go back and have another look at the study and see if I can find the answer. But, either way, this is not a study that's been somehow designed to find out whether these are good long-term dietary patterns. I feel sad in a way because I think it's a missed opportunity. I think it's a really interesting thing to do to look at identical twins who have the same genetics. So you take genetics out of the equation by doing that, and then you can see what the effect of the diet is. Broadly speaking, that's quite a good comparison. I would have just loved it to have been done looking at people eating a high raw plant-based diet, a low-fat, high raw plant-based diet, and then let's see what really happens to your LDL cholesterol, your fasting glucose, and your weight. Interestingly, I've just come back from the Woodstock Fruit Festival in Florida. I spent 8 days there eating a zero overt fats diet, which I felt absolutely great on. Struggled a little bit, few nuts have crept in and things since I've got home, but still reasonably pretty low fat, the diet that I'm eating at the moment. And I would say upwards of 90 to 95% raw. So that's what I'm doing at the moment. And I came home, stood on the scales, and I'd gained 100 grams. And interestingly, I did that, and almost the same day or the next day, I got an email from Ronnie Smith, one of his circular emails. He was also there. He's the organiser of the UK Fruit Festival. And he sent an email around saying, I gained weight at a fruit festival, or something to that effect. Anyway, he'd done the same thing. He stood on the scales and discovered that he'd actually gained weight because the food was so amazing and there was so much of it. And, we were just eating fruit and greens. So I'll leave you with that thought. Lovely to see you today. Sorry, there's been a few days gap. I've been away in Wales with my daughters for half term. So we climbed almost to the top of Trevan, which was good. But we had a little break, little digital holiday for the half term. So back in the saddle, so to speak, and I'll see you again soon. All right, take care. Bye.